Yes, everybody, Russell and West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. So another victory for the mighty West Ham. That's two in a row. Two in a row for the first time in a year. Back-to-back clean sheets. Oh, having some of that one, John. Having some of that one. Happy Friday as well. We've done another week, my friends, and we haven't got West Ham to ruin it. We haven't got West Ham to ruin it this week, which is fandabidoso in terms of 2 weekends off now. 2 weekends off. Obviously, we now play Newcastle on the 10th. So, brilliant. What we'll do today is we'll go through some of your comments. We'll do play ratings and just get your views of the game. For me, professional job. It was a job that was, if someone asked you to go and do a job, that was it. You did the job. Did you exceed the expectation? No. But did you win the game? Yes. Could we have scored a few more goals? Yes. Did we? Maybe if I was grading it, maybe a C. It was, at school, you've achieved what you wanted to go. Was it an A performance? But I don't think so. It was a C performance. It got the job done. We got the 3 points. We got the back-to-back wins for the first time ever in over a year. And yeah, puts us right up to Spurs and Man United. As I said, at the beginning of the season, someone said to me, "You're going to finish above Spurs and Man United this season." I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, Europe we go." Not necessarily. It could be 12th. But that is just the craziness of the season. Let's go for some comments. Will, good afternoon to you. Can't we do much except finish above Spurs, so let's make it a goal to finish above them. Agreed. Yes, we won, but watching the game for me, it was far from convincing. It was far from convincing. Less passion on the pitch needs to address the issues for future matches. I think we're getting ourselves into a quandary again now. We always do it as West Ham fans. It's like points versus performance. But at the moment, I don't think it's fair to judge Potter on performances at the moment. We're seeing a transition. We're seeing a change. We've seen some players who have been maybe on the peripherals step forward a bit more. And we'll talk about some of them in a minute. And some people who didn't want to play are now playing. Obviously, the Arsenal game was a good performance away from home. I agree. I think but in terms of the tick boxes, clean sheet, yes. Couple of goals, yes. 3 points, yes. Any injuries? Hopefully not. And so, I think we sort of came out of the game reasonably unscathed. Now we've got ourselves, 10 days now until the next game. I'm sure they have a couple of days off. And then we entertain a new... I think unfortunately sometimes our intensity matches the opposition we play. I think Newcastle will come with more intent, and therefore we have to be a lot more... Leicester offered nothing yesterday. I felt really sorry. Obviously, we know. I mean, Jack from the Final Whistle, he's been on the channel lots of times. Felt sorry for him because I knew he was there, and I just thought they offered nothing. And it was almost like we were doing enough to get the win, and we didn't need to do anything more. We'd have liked to do more. I'd like to score a few more goals, maybe make a dent in that, bit more of a dent in the goal difference. But needs and wants of the manager. You thought maybe half time was going to think, bring on Ferguson now, give him 45. He didn't decide to do that. There must have been a reason behind that. Potter's paid to make those decisions. So have to wait and see, innit? Afternoon Russ was not a champagne performance, but under Loppy we were a cheap bucks fizz. Now at least we're Prosecco. I'll give that. It was like watching a train session. I mean, I said it to me. It was very reminiscent of the Europa Conference League games, which we need to do enough to win. And it felt like that. It felt like a training session as well. I totally get that. And I think I was just surprised how little fight Leicester had. Little fight. And I felt sorry for the fan base. So I said, I've got a soft spot for Leicester. Went to uni at Loughborough. So I'd regularly go to King Power. I saw West Ham, or Filbert Street actually at the time it was. And so, yeah, I've always had a soft spot for them. So I felt sorry for them, really. Stephen, good afternoon to you. Peter, good afternoon to you. Total respect for Souček. If anyone didn't know why Souček didn't do the spinning helicopter celebration, it's because of he said afterwards, because of obviously the tragic circumstances how Leicester lost their owner in a helicopter accident, so he didn't want to antagonise and show respect to the fans. Could you love Thomas Souček any more after that? And it was his birthday. Honestly, the man he's going to be one of those people that we're going to look back at in 20 years' time and really have a soft spot for. You know, he's in a world of football where everyone's nasty and everyone's like penny, trying to get money and something like that just brings a tear to your eye. And also, did you see Soufal? Soufal, obviously, he's injured. Paqueta was in the posh seats watching the game. Soufal weren't. He was in the fans, but he had a scarf over his face, so he didn't show it. It was my mate Sam was a few in front. I was like, "Did you know?" He went, "No, didn't have a clue." Brilliant. Can you believe 3 weeks happiness? Indeed. Good first half. We did. Do you know what? And it's you, and it's so often the case with West Ham that when we need how many times have we said, right, we need to get out of the gates, score a couple of goals, game's won. We've never do that. But we did it yesterday. And then we just took our foot off the gas. Didn't need to do any more. Didn't need to exert any more energy. The win was there. Leicester offered nothing. I'll go through the stats in a minute. But yeah, good first half. Placid sounded like a library in there. I think the second half, because they took their foot off the pace, and I've been having this row with this bloke on Facebook today, saying, "Oh, you should do more. You should do more to improve the atmosphere, Russ." I was like, okay, and then in the same comment section, he went, "It was good up until Bubbles." I said, "What can I fucking do after that? I can't play music. I can't, get some pom poms out and do a cheer on the pitch. I can't do that. But in the same way, if I totally respect people who are like not cheering and stuff, because at the end of the day, I've said it before. If I go to a comedy show and the comedian's not funny, I ain't gonna fucking laugh because I'm there for the sake of it. You're not going to cheer for something you're not entertained with. You're a madman if that happens, or a mad woman, or a mad person, depending on your pronouns. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it just really bugs me that they just think, oh, the answer is playing some different music. It's not. It's what's on the pitch. If the players, that first half, it weren't too bad. It wasn't very exciting. The trouble is also in a night game, people turn up late anyway. Because they would come back from work. But I just don't get it. But I agree. It was really quiet. And maybe it is a case of putting some, putting the Ironworks Alliance, like a singing section. Yeah, maybe that might work because it might filter around the ground. But at kick-off, I went down from a wee, as I always do, and I was hearing, Graham Potter's Claret and Blue Army being sung, in my stand, which is mainly press box, really, and corporates. Anyway, afternoon, Frog, hope you're well. So glad there isn't an obligation to buy it. We'll see, innit? He's not fully fit. We know he's not fully fit. I'd like to see, after these next 10 games, I'd like to see him start against Newcastle, potentially. It was a really boring second half. It was. I knew we wouldn't bust a gut, as we wouldn't end up with an injury too. And you could see, when as soon as Tolibo, I think about 65 minutes, he sort of went for a challenge and hopped on one leg, and they hooked him off straight away because he's box office. Clues looked at least heart interest against the minnow is something, I guess. Yep, first half maybe. Got the points, Russ, and fresh start. I missed having 31 shots. Thomas as leader. Loves potato salad. Never got out of second gear. We didn't. And I can't remember the last time we did. We had Stell on afterwards, bless him. I saw him as he was walking back. And he said the same thing. We didn't seem to get out of second gear, but we didn't need to. We didn't need to exert more energy to get the 3 points. And as you said, it's a cold night. The likes of Tolibo, people like that, come back from injury. Bowen's still, I still think to have come back so quickly from that fractured foot, he's got to be a bit careful. But yeah, it was second half just left a bit of a in it. If we had a West Ham rock, it would be to twist Claret and Blue through and through. Indeed, Souček to Everton on the cards and something. No, not at all. Potter loves him. He's one of Potter's main. Potter wanted him when he was at Brighton. He ain't going nowhere. Did all we needed to do. Newcastle will be exactly. You'll get arrested if you get your pom poms out. Yep, exactly. And I don't want to be put on a register or anything like that. Sorry for setting you off. Wasn't no, mate. Honestly, I appreciate it. It was a library, and it was quiet. There's nothing playing Hi Ho Silver Linings going to make any difference to the product we're being seen. You know, it wasn't an exciting game. It's not a game I'm going to go, oh, do you remember that 2-0 victory against Leicester City where we scored 2 really, really scrabbly goals? That one, yes. But I think honestly, you know, and again, there's no difference than if we played Sevilla in terms of what we played. If anything, it was more yesterday. We had a bloody massive tribute to Ronnie Boyce as well. We had Brian Deere on there doing a beautiful eulogy about him. You know, for the old West Ham boys, that would have got them going. You know, we had the sad news of Tony Earlham who passed away the week. You know, there'll be old boys there who knew Tony very well, and you know, we just beat Arsenal. There was no reason for the and they were up for it at the beginning. The crowd were up, but it soon goes quiet because it does, because you know it's and particularly the way Potter, but it's a measured style of football. It's measured, and I think there was definitely some. I mean, Anton did 5 things we learned from the game. We're going to talk about some players, ratings, show a few stats as well, and I think there's some really interesting bits that I think came out of that. Definitely, love to see Chile doing the cabaret striptease. Well, something happens. Russ, general question: do you play the music at half time as well? Yes, we do. Obviously, for night games, we tend to have a match day. We'll have a DJ doing it out. We had Mick the Butcher. Good old Mick, proper West Ham fan. He was proper West Ham fan. And yeah, it was half time. Yeah, it depends if it's a night game, so we get in. But the thing is, you know, naturally you've got adverts and stuff like that, which always happens. Maybe we'll do a bigger show about it if you want. Mate, I know what you mean. We had this. I was brought in to get people in. Yeah, it never happens, mate. It will never happen with it. And that's the thing. I mean, you know, and this bloke on Facebook was like saying, "Oh, get us old boys." Go, "Oh, you old boys will be in the pub and you'll be in the concourse until 5 minutes. It was too cold, innit?" Anyway, stop ranting, Russ. I really like how coach we looked to play. Not really worried out of the position for once. We didn't even when they had the ball, even that second half where they were having a go. I wasn't worried. Disappointed not to see Luis Guilherme. Yeah, I thought we might have given it. Again, it was opportunity to give some of the players a bit of a run out. I mean, we've got 10 days now, so you think, yeah, but look, there must have been a reason behind it. Total professional, because everything, what a role model to have for the younger players. Indeed, it's okay if it's boring. Clean sheet, come to a win. Weird decisions looked more like a practice. We'd love to see Guilherme got off a litmus test longer than 8 minutes. This would have been time to prep. I don't get the Ferguson signing. Why getting an unfit forward on loan and not play him? Why getting an unfit forward on loan and not playing? Well, you've just answered your question there, Darren. He's unfit. He is. And I don't think we're paying a lot for him. And I think it's useful to... I mean, you know, he'll have the next 10 games. He had these 10 days to get ready, and 10 games. It was a great chance. Yeah, it was, but in the day, it was his decision. First few stops were really strange. They were a little bit, but anyway. Potter is doing the fundamentals at the moment, defensively. I mean, to be honest, you're right, Michael. What we need to do is show up the defence. I think it's fortunate as well. You know, I don't think it's all Potter's. Yeah, but I think Potter's seems to get things going, but he's fortunate in the fact that Todibo's back from injury. Now, whether that injury was actually a full injury for Lopetegui, but we look such a better side with those three. And he brought in Aaron as a third centre half, and I think Aaron's played really well. I think it's very shrewd to have Aaron at left centre half and then have Ollie in front of him, almost Aaron coaching him during the game. At times, you could see what he was doing. And that's great. Back to basics, indeed. And why not? I heard Sweet Caroline. Always play Sweet Caroline if we win. We win. Bubbles, twist and shout. Yep. And then West Ham United, the B-side to Bubbles. Great song. Proper West Ham fans know that song. Built a solid platform, then build it. Indeed, the crowd did cheer good plays. I mean, they will do. They will do. Ferguson won't be here next season. We have Cummings, who's he's not very similar to Cummings. He's totally different, mate. I'll be honest, Michael, he's not. He's a different type of player. But I think Hammond's headlines, we're going to talk about another couple of players we'll be linked to moving forwards. Shane done 21 at Derby's and on YouTube. It's probably because it's at Derby. So I don't know. It depends about the setup. Rush Green is set up to show 21s. I don't necessarily know if Derby has the setups, like in terms of decent Wi-Fi and stuff like that and infrastructure. That's the issue. We got the win, clean sheet, and managed the game watching TV. Didn't understand some negativity in other channels. Some people never happy, I suppose. I get it. I get it. I think sometimes we can be a little bit accused of a bit Spursy sometimes, you know, the fact is we're 16th in the league and we're playing a side who's already beaten us this season already. And yes, we come off the Arsenal game, but we're all West Ham fans. And even I was chatting to Tonka and Matty Jarvis and Jimmy Walker and all the ambassadors pre-match. They were like, it wouldn't surprise me if we lose today, so West Ham. And that is how I felt, you know, anything's possible at West Ham. You thought, particularly if Leicester turned up, had a go at us, early goal, anything's possible, but they didn't. And I think we were a little bit taken back. I think we assumed they were going to come at us. Particularly, they made a few changes. They took off, put Ayew on the bench, Brandon Neto on. They changed the right back to put Justin James on, but they offered nothing. They really offered nothing. The main thing the squad needs to do is get a grip on its attitude. Don't see many additional players if that is sorted out. Guilherme on instead of Soler, possibly. Everyone's talking to each other. Right, yeah, I didn't hear it through the TV, but if there was booing of Maz, I don't think it's necessarily. I think some people, I did hear booing. And again, I think sometimes we can be a bit Spursy. We can. The fact is, John Clare's not fit. He ain't fit. And to have got 60 minutes off him, and to get 60 minutes off him yesterday rather, and the Arsenal game, I think it's a good start. Surprise of the season goes to Mr. Cresswell. Mate, but it's not a surprise though. I think bar 2 European games, every time he's played in that left back three position, he did it under Moyes early on in his career, in the tenure. And we had Arthur Masuaku as left wing back, you know, and how good he was then. I remember us shitting ourselves. He came back from Congo early. People thought he might have been injured. That's his role now. He can't, you know, he's 35 years old, and as long as he's got a decent defensive wing back next to him, like Ollie or Emerson, I think, you know, that's his role. Good afternoon, early doors. So if you play similarly, we get 10 points easily. How much is a 75? I don't know, Peter. No idea, mate. Wasn't easy to watch last night. We did what we had to do. I think we've gone up another 3 levels as need be. I agree. I said I think we've been second or third gear, and we could easily have gone up extra gears if we needed to. But it was almost like, that's why I thought it was like a professional job. You've come in to do a job. You've come in to get 3 points, keep a clean sheet, and come away with no injuries. You've done it. But could you have gone above and beyond? Could you have over-delivered? Possibly. But we just didn't seem... And I think it was just a weird game. As I said, it was like a pre-season. Talking to someone who's very familiar with Guilherme, said not only is he a very fast and front foot, but defensive is animal. Mate, you're going to see a lot more from him next year. I'm pretty sure of that. In a world where people ridicule Man United for disaster, we have super... Mate, honestly, do you know, it's incredible. The man, I don't think I could love Thomas Suchek anymore. Considering all the shit he gets from us lot as well, you know, it's not always been a Thomas Suchek loving. People criticise him as a player and stuff, but you cannot criticise his commitment. You cannot criticise him as a person. You know, he seems such a genuine guy as well. Brilliant players won't help them improve. True. I can't believe someone actually bought my ticket. First time I got it stuck in exchange, got a whopping £5. Hey! Sadly, only 2 games in March. Hope they put the youth games in YouTube. This will still go stir crazy with no football. Yeah, I mean, we do have international break after 2 games in March, with international break in between them. We'll have loads of on the West Ham network. Don't worry about that. We have some great... We have some great interviews. We've got some new show formats. Don't worry. We'll keep you amused. If we ditched Lop in November and got Potter in, we would have a few more points. Yeah, quite possibly. And it's always, and I was thinking about it the other day, the timing of it is very strange, the whole Potter thing. Thinking about it sort of from afar, you're thinking, we weren't really. I know position wise we're in risk of going down, but we weren't really. We're still not technically not safe. But to spend the best part of £6 million swapping in one manager for another, one head coach for another, plus also spending another 1.2 million, so about £7.5 million, you're not going to make that up in positions as such this year. So I think there has to have been a change in mentality upstairs for that to have happened. Or maybe that was always going to be the plan. I don't know. Should never have got floppy in the first place. Well, we're led to believe that Potter was asked then, and he turned it down for the time being. And I think there is, I think it was a bit. I think it was a bit of poison chalice. The job, obviously, Moyes leaving, always tricky for that sort of, after a successful manager, and he was successful for us. That next one in, you've seen, people struggle before, and there's a massive squad rebuild, and I don't think Potter fancied it then, but maybe come in, he came in then now, and it's almost like the longest pre-season he's ever got. Have a bit more faith for us to call. No, that's what I mean. No, I'm totally on that corner. I'm saying, why we did that. For me, that shows a change in mentality, because easily we could have kept Lopetegui for the rest of this season, and then off we go. Now, the flip side is, with Lopetegui, obviously there was disenchantment with the fans and season ticket renewals and stuff like that. So but I'm totally on that corner that's turning. Potter gets us, the club that supports. I just think, in all honesty, Matt, it's not being xenophobic or anything, but West Ham, for me, isn't a club that's set up to have a foreign-based manager. Some clubs have been in Europe proverbially, like your Arsenals and your Chelseas, so they're set up for that. But actually, for us, you look at the players, the managers who have succeeded, even in recent times. But actually, you're looking at the ones who haven't, and they're all going to be foreign-based managers. Lopetegui, Pellegrini, Bilic's second year, I think, is fair enough to look at. Avram Grant, Zola, who the successful times under West Ham. Moyes, hopefully Potter. We've got Sam Allardyce. We were successful. Alan Pardew, we were successful under. Maybe not curve. A little bit curved, I would say. So, yeah, I think that's probably why. Does it seem like Potter was a caretaker? Yes. That's exactly how I see it, Iron Disciple. Would be good if Ajala is a new Defoe. Ajala's an interesting character. I've been reading loads of things. Oh, he's got to get a step up. He's got to be called into the first team. No way. Not yet. Lad is far too green. He's a clinical finisher. Give him a chance and he'll bury it. However, he's not strong enough yet. Defoe was strong. He was a little guy, but actually, I remember him going. He wasn't strong and then he went to Bournemouth and bulked up a little bit, put a bit of muscle on. It doesn't have to be like Antonio, but just be able to hold yourself up. Josh has got all the components of being a fantastic player. Just needs that physicality a little bit more. Back down on the concessions, but we don't know. No idea. Lopetegui was the biggest mistake in recent times. Pellegrini, maybe? I don't know. Hopefully, we'll have a list looking at Mitoma. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, great player. I can see breaking into season after. I think Daniel Cummings is going to come in and be the next one, and I think Josh is going to be the next one after him. Thrill-based manager, yeah, exactly. But successful. He was successful. He got us promoted and got us from a promoted side. I mean, look at the promoted sides now; they're pretty much guaranteed to go down. We finished a couple of decent seasons in that year. I'd love Matoma, but too expensive. Moyes was a foreign manager. I'm hoping. Have we signed Defoe? There for that kid. What I'm led to believe, we're holding off announcing it just in case he gets injured or something like that. But I think X said it's all done. ink is dry but hasn't been announced. You never know. They are thrown in at deep. Darren, I've seen enough, mate. I don't want another Mipo Debeko. I mean, Ajala's a special player. He could be a very special player, but so was Mipo Debeko when he and then Moyes threw him in at the wrong time, and he wasn't up. He wasn't ready, and that ruined his career. And now he's playing in Ireland now, I think now. So that's why I want it to be worked the best possible way. And you've got to be now of how strong physical. I mean, Ajala couldn't compete with Mats Kilman or a Todabo in terms of physicality. They'd eat him for lunch. RVN is the worst point of any club, even worse than Loppy. No, the Southampton bloke's worse. Jujic, he's awful. Ajala needs more witty bits. He does. The Hendrick kid would be an interesting signing. It would be interesting, I think. And I think, he's mates with Louis Guilherme as well. And that's what I was saying yesterday. I did a film. I did a show about the Skulls effect and how that is having a real good effect on our transfer dealings going into the summer when we can buy younger players or bring in younger players like an Hendrick or younger players like Mamadou Kante will be in the summer, who we bought from Paris FC. Who could well fill in our CDM. Him alongside Potts would be fucking amazing. He's built that. He's easy, proper unit. Kenny was telling me, and with Hendrick as well. I think for me, it's almost like if the Paqueta thing doesn't go our way, then I think we'll bring him on loan. And then whatever happens. What happens with Marshall next season? I think Marshall's losing his pecking order. I'll be honest, Pete. Again, Marshall will score goals wherever he goes. He's that type of player. Hasn't had a bucket load for Huddersfield. Obviously, we had high hopes for him. I think you got to think Earthy back as well. I think he gets pushed further and further down the food chain, whether it means, for me, he goes, if there's no decent pathway for him, he goes back out on loan. There's no point leaving him in the 21s to rot, so to speak. But I can't see a spot for him in the side now, in the squad. You got to think, Daniel Cummings, part of the reason why he's coming in is he's been promised he's going straight into the first team. There's not really much pathway. So you got to think that he takes over Danny Ings' spot. I can't see where Marshall's whose spot he would take in the squad. Unfortunately, could be worse. We could have more him. Yeah, I mean, look, we all wanted him, innit? But I don't. As again, I was talking to the United guy United fan yesterday. He ain't a bad boss, but the thing is, he knows he so wants to do his thing that no one really. He hasn't got the players around him, and that's the issue. Only takes a year to bulk up. Indeed, that's what I mean. Give Josh a year to say, right, okay, then by then Antonio, if we offer Antonio a 1-year deal, which I think we probably will, it's good PR as well, then the 26-27 season, that's when Josh is in. Antonio's gone. There's another spot there for another striker. Daniel Cummings in there as well. Then we've got a good couple of strikers there for the next few years. Could do some weight training, so you can. Yeah, I agree. He would tend not to come here. Big Sam, the job, he was underrated, mate. It was. I mean, we hopefully will get Kevin on soon to talk about that period. But we were on our knees. If we didn't go up that season, we were fucked. We had to go up, and. Not only to get Sam in, but then Sam to convince Kevin to come over, and from a very decent Newcastle side where he just got his best goal tally in the Premier League ever. He came in and did the job. He got us promoted and kept us steady, and that was his use, and that's when he finished. And then we move on, but we never really kicked on really. Probably the best exposure therapy experience as a manager. Came into an absence of options midway through season. Yep, I agree. Looked like he was contemplating what to have for dinner and still looking undecided. See, and I was talking to Jack on the final whistle on Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday night, and it was fascinating talking to him because they got rid of obviously Enzo Maresco. They're playing a certain style of football. Then they got Steve Cooper in, who played a completely different style of football, and then Rude, who's playing a completely different style of football. And they could have, to be honest, they could have gone. Deitch hadn't been sacked then, but they could have gone old school. They could have gone Allardyce or someone like that, firefighter, but they didn't. They decided to go a bit more and play their way out of trouble, and it just ain't worked. Just ain't worked. He was apparently offered money for the transfers budgets, which was never given to him. See Moyes' praises to say he would. Strange that Moyes looked the other way when it came to academy players compared to Potter. Disagree, early doors with that comment. He gave Scarles's and Moyes gave over 20 academy players their first team debut, more than any Premier League manager in West Ham's history. However, I agree. At times, he didn't do it when we wanted him to do it. As I said, Moyes had a representative at every youth team under 21 game I was at. Whether it was him, whether it's Billy McKinley, whether it was Mark Robson, he'd always have someone there. And I think Potter has been. Yes, he's Potter's come into a situation now where it's a win-win for him, isn't it? We're not going to be relegated, and any points he gets, we're more likely to maybe finish above Spurs, so that puts him in good stead. There's not much riding on each game at West Ham, so he has the luxury of playing kids without much pressure. Also, from when Moyes came in, got to think that's another year in terms of Ollie. Ollie is bulked up a lot more in the last 8-9 months. He's been playing central midfield for the under 21s and stuff like that. So I think you judge Moyes, I think, by that time he was in and the players who were on the peripherals of going into the first team. Ajay, let's say, yes, I think we could have probably given him some game time, but he decided to stick with experience and would rather play in Cresswell than Ajay and people like that. I don't think they've missed much of them. I don't think we've missed anyone. We've gone shit. We've missed a trick there. And as I said, the academy like Kenny know what they're doing. Roy Keane thinks foreign managers could need 2 to acclimatise. So why wouldn't the youth need at least that? Great point. And also thinking about the Moyes' formation was different to the formation the under 21s and 18s are playing. Now they're all playing the same formation that Potter plays, 3 at the back. So it actually all makes sense. Moyes no flexibility. We'll find out. Yeah, exactly. But Everton know that. And to be honest, they need a player fans who are going to keep in the Premier League this year and going to go to the new stadium and at least compete in that new stadium. It's a massive pitch. And some of West Ham fans obviously been salivating in that stadium. Listen to some of the Everton fans. They're not all happy about this stadium either. Yeah, we're like, oh, it's brilliant. Oh, I'm so jealous. They're not happy about it. It's fucking freezing as well. It's right. It's literally sitting on the dock of the bay. So you got to wrap up warm. We've got to hope that we don't get bloody a January or February match there. Hopefully May or early August. Any news on Antonio making early return anticipated? We've been led to be believed that they penciled in the Forest game as a possible return date, which is the last home game of the season. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. What striker should we go that we can afford? I'll talk about a few at Hammer's headlines. We'll talk about later. Goes to show you can't go straight back up. Look at Loom. Exactly. It's not an easy thing. And I think Leicester, as I said, talking to Jack, he was like, I don't think we'll go straight back up because EFL will throw the book at them. So they tried to do it this year, but obviously they're in the Premier League. So they'll get points deductions retrospectively from 2 years ago. Is Guilherme Emerson's younger brother? They look so alike. No. I prefer Big Sam over Moyes. Interesting. Leicester would have had a better chance if they'd kept Cooper. Hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? Hindsight's a great thing. But quite possibly. And that's what I was saying to him. I was like, look, I think you needed to sort of just stay up this year. And then year 2, that's when you push on. I feel sorry for someone like Ipswich. Ipswich at least had a decent go of it. They tried to buy in players and likely they'll go down, but they're a well-run club. Gulf between Premier and Championship is getting bigger every year. Do you Do you see any making the grade next season? In terms of what? Let me know what you mean. Glad you saw both points. Should have worded it better. No, not at all. That's what we do. No, early. We have a debate in it. I have very strong views on the academy. I always have, and that's why we are, the only side out here that puts out an acad just for the academy show, because it's such an important part. And I think sometimes we pay lip service to it. People go, "Oh, it's with the Academy of Football," and I was like, "Okay, well, have you been to Rush Green recently? Do you know about Edris Colin-Beckis? Do you know about Ezra Mayer? Do you know about the youngsters coming through?" Nope, no about Lewis Orford. Well, it's because he's on the first team. So I think, that's why we try and do the academy show, so you guys know who's coming through. You can be excited, because I'm genuinely excited about the academy. I'm genuinely excited about what we've got. We're on the cusp of, in terms of our future first team. Whether it transpires is another thing, but I'm very excited. I think Casey needs to bulk up as well. I've mentioned my thoughts about Casey. He's a nice lad. He's a good player. Will he challenge for a starting berth centre half position in the first team? I can't see it. He'll have a very good career, I think, as a footballer. Maybe not at West Ham. And that's not me being arsy about it. It's me being realistic about it. I'm not gonna, I prefer Central, and that's just my preference. I prefer Michael Forbes as a centre half over Caelan Casey. That's just me. I like old school defenders, and Michael Forbes to me is an old school defender. The trouble is he's always fucking injured. That's the only trouble. But he's got that real aggression, which I think sometimes we miss in our centre halves. Scar's playing midfield has helped him. I totally agree. Happy Emirates, good afternoon to you. Hope you're well. $6 million man. Honestly, it's mental, Antonio. Absolutely mental. Burnley and Scott Parker doing well. The defence record is unbelievable, but we'll see if they come. And the chances are, Kent, Burnley are in that sort of Venn diagram. They're too good for the Championship, but I don't think they're good enough for the Premier League. And so they're sort of stuck in this bubble. They just keep bouncing up and down. And it's how they deal with that. I think Ipswich bought too many players. Yeah. I mean, can't love him more. Stay in the Premier League, not going straight down. Last team to stay up, I believe, was Forest. Yeah, exactly. Leicester were pony. And I think, I mean, probably won't have time to do any things as such. But, the game yesterday, as I said, it's like we ended up with 60% possession. Leicester had more shots, 89% pass accuracy, more touches. We fouled more, but but there were some people I wanted to highlight a little bit. Whatever happens to these youth team players, a lot of West Ham go on and have a career, and importantly, the name turn them into good play. And that's what when we had Tony Carr on. The point of, we asked him what the point of the academy was, and the first point was to provide players for the West Ham first team, and the second after that was, if they don't get into West Ham, to make very good professional football players. And even if they don't make it at West Ham and they go to other clubs, they'll talk about their time at West Ham, and hopefully in positive light. And so therefore it all, then when we're going for players, or, we hear about how good the academy is. But you're totally right, Kim. I went for a massive list the other day of players that we've released in the academy, because what happens is we always get that situation where we go, it's me as well. When we let Harris Nashby go, I was like, he's a future right back. Haven't we done much at Newcastle, has he, since? Everyone was up, or when Sonny Perkins left, he's playing at Orient now. Do you know what I mean? So we haven't dropped the ball, really. I think the only one I think we could say you could have dropped the ball with was Tony Martinez at Porto. But even then, it's taken him for 2 or 3 moves before he's found his feet. And that's what happens. Sometimes just the club doesn't work for the player. We've had loads of players on. We've had Sean Newton and Adam Newton and Izzy Ikipen and Bertie Brayley and all these guys who had a decent career, the Odgies, but not at West Ham. But they're still West Ham boys, but they're not They didn't play for West Ham as many as they wanted to. What are your thoughts on the lad Robinson? I love him. I really think he's a good player. Obviously, sort of on loan at Sutton, doing the sort of similar thing what we're doing Mason Terry in terms of he's available if selected for Sutton United. He's been training the first team as well, doing the a little bit. He's a really good right back, and he's very aggressive. And maybe that aggression sometimes is a bit too much. Maybe, there's that aggression can move into arrogance potentially sometimes. But he's a good player, and I think he's with me. It's like what I like about him is he'll be 3 yards behind someone, and then they get the ball, and he's right up their arse, so to speak. He gets that burst of pace, and I think he's a really good, really, really good. 2 shots on targets, perfect for a home game against Leicester. It is, but there was 100% success rate technically. Well, I suppose Bowie's shot probably wasn't really on target, but it is. But we won the game, and that's the thing. We didn't need to go out of second gear. 10 days out, but not 10 days out the West Ham Network, though, Happy Amaria. We've got some great interviews coming up. A new show format as well I'm looking forward to. Rush, do you know anything about the Swansea player we linked to? Which one? We've linked to quite a few. Louise Hour ahead of in regards to development. I think Louise Hour's gone. He's on loan, obviously. He's in loan Poland. We'll talk about that in the Academy show on Monday. But that's a loan with an obligation. Not an obligation, I don't know if it is, but if he's successful, I think he'll stay out there because he wants to find a place to bring his family over and then start a life. And he can't really do that at West Ham because he hasn't really broken into the first team. And I wish him all. He's a lovely lad as well. See that centre back went to Brazil in the end. What centre back? Going on loan. Yeah, he's already there. It's been announced. Harrison in no man's land at QPR now. Tony Martinez. I don't see what he's going to do when he's playing. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. I think, hindsight's a great thing. We aren't considering selling Orford, are we, Russ? No, why would we? Not at all. Swire is knocking as well. I think Swire's probably done, and Peter's mentioned it, went on loan to Crawley. He's a good player. I just don't think he's going to be a West Ham first team player. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. As I said, I keep saying 97% of Premier League academy players never play 1 minute of Premier League football. So you've got to be up there. You've got to be Ollie Scholes. I mean, Ollie Scholes could probably get into most sides as a left back now, left wing back now, or some decent sides in the Premier League, and he's only 19. So he's very much up there. You've got to be that bit extra. Declan Rice, you've got to be, and that's a detriment of the England football team as well, because you could easily, as I said, you could easily go to France to get a player who's already got 50 appearances under his belt, same age. I've watched Harrison. He ain't putting up any trees. We have one game being shown live in April, the Liverpool game, indeed. Get back to work. Okay, take care. Did he not? Thought he was doing well in under 21s. Who are you talking about? He is. I mean, he's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, he's at the top end of the 21s now. So I don't know where he's going to go next. But in the toilet. Number 1 or number 2? Or 3? All 3. I wanted to just highlight a few people quickly. Some really good performances I thought yesterday. I don't get the time to do the ratings. It's not going to have time. And I think, again, a changing in mentality in terms of what Potter's brought in. And the first one is Jean-Claire. For me, Jean-Claire is... Yeah, don't forget to wash your hands as well. Yeah. Let's see the first hit. Well, that never happened, will it, Darren? Neither... What are you doing in the toilet, Happy Amaret, then? If you're not doing a wee or a poo? Is this meant to be late night? Is this like you want to talk about this in a late show rather than lunchtime? I think so. You naughty girl. Anyway, I want to talk about Jean-Claire. Jean-Claire's been the last 2 games sensational. And look at his touch map. He's almost got exactly the same, whether it's in the opposition or in the or in the first on his defensive half, it's left to right. He had 2/3 of a match, 80 touches with a 92% pass completion, and also didn't make a single fucking tackle. Our centre half didn't have to make a fucking tackle in the whole game. That to me shows A, the lack of Leicester going forward, and B, the changing in mentality in terms of us defensively. Usually we'd have been stuck there doing nothing or piling them all on. But tell you what, and you could see a smile on his face, absolute smile on his face. I'm hiding this. I told you she's not one out. Listen to me. She's unbelievable. I really like Gideon, but from what I've seen, it's touring costs. I think he'll be a decent League One Championship player. In all honesty, did Libido take a knock? Was so drunk at the match, don't remember. He pulled up a little bit, and as soon as he pulled up, they took him off straight away. But such a good player. Reminds me of a massive. I call him box office, mate, and he is like a Rolls Royce. He is. He always smiling. Absolutely. I think he's. And him alongside Kilman gives Kilman less to think about. And you've got an experienced guy on the left in terms of Cresswell, and the three of them just work. But yeah, I mean, just those, and then if you compare that to our left wing back, it's almost exactly the fucking same. Our left wing back is more in the attacking half than he is in the defensive half, which is exactly how it should be. I mean, he had 74, again, 92% completion rate. Tackles, all those tackles were pretty much done in the opposition half, pressing up against them. There was a couple of times I definitely remember him tackling the opposition in terms of, I think it was Bonanetto a few times. But, I mean, he's my hand of the year at the moment. I think he's exceptional. And best £15 million. And hopefully get back knocking on the door for England. Deserves it. He really deserves it. And also, I just wanted to talk about JWP. I mean, this guy's come back. He's hardly played at Forest, and he's come back. And the last couple of games, I mean, he came on for the Brentford second half, best player on the pitch. Then Arsenal, full 90, industrious, picks up the ball, busy. And then that's not Aaron Bissaka. That's JWP. But all over 94% pass completion. Amazing. Do you think Lopetegui sent him out on loan to Forest? It's shocking. Obviously he wanted to bring his men. He wanted to bring Guerrero in. But I tell you what, I was talking to Tonka yesterday. He was waxing lyrically about JWP. He's like, honestly, the boy's mustard. He's so much better than he remembered he was. And you're right. I mean, you think of that Brentford game and how poor that first half was. I know we lost the game, but how slow the midfield was. And just bringing him on. I mean, JWP's not the quickest man. I mean, David Raya beat him on a foot race, against Arsenal. But just so much more with him. So much more with him. And yes, there's the set pieces and stuff like that. It's always you get with JWP, but such a good player. Such a good player. And JWP is what we are missing. Cam who can feed the ball forward. Yeah, I just think I quite like JWP being slightly more withdrawn, picking the ball up from Todabo, picking the ball up from Kilman, turning and going. I quite like that. JCT. Oh, we should JCB. AWB. I think we should just sign a whole team of acronyms. Double barrel names. That's what we want. Carl Walker Peters. Bring him in. JCT to AWB to KWP to JWP. All good. 50-50 for FA Cup, so it'll be available versus us. Because they play us on the 10th. When is the actual let's just put in Newcastle. Wayman. When is the so they play us? So yeah, he plays Brighton, but then they play us on the 10th. But on the Sunday, they play Liverpool in the cup final. Now, there will be some players, like Isaac, for example, who I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the bench for us against us, because they have the cup final, at the end of that week. So I think, you never know. I think they might not put out a scratch side, but a lot of players will have it in the back of their minds. A lot of players have it in the back of their minds of the cup final. The tick of the man who uses his brain rather than running around like hedge chicken. I agree. Nice for Areola to show some protection at last, indeed. Bring back MFI. Okay. Will we cash in Ged, or will Potter want him in the Crest? I personally think what will happen is Ged will come back pre-season and Potter will play him in the Crest for a while, and we'll see. 6 days between, mate. Don't forget when we had the FA 2006, we played Liverpool. Kent will back me up. Was it a week, 10 days before the cup final? And obviously then there was a sending off, and we lost Hayden Mullins. They lost Louis Garcia, and when you've got that, when you know the cup final is going to be in 6 days' time, you're not going to go 100% in. In theory, what if you got a knock and you're out of the cup final? Do you know what I mean? But I reckon if there's people who are, definitely Pete, yeah, definitely Liverpool will beat them for sure. But if you've got players who maybe are on the peripherals, or maybe I wouldn't be surprised not to set a scratch side for the Newcastle game, but a side which isn't the side that will start the final. And we'll have Ross back on, Ross Tordell from Cultaholic, our Newcastle fan. He'll be back. He'll be back with our new game. I've got a new game for him. We did play a Pictionary last time. He enjoyed that, but I've got a different game for him. So that'll be on like next week, like next Friday or Saturday. We'll put that up. I'd love to see Aguirre back. He's playing. Would be a sick back. Barry, that's my vision. My vision. And by then, someone like Ollie won't need, and I'm not saying he does need him, but he won't need a elder statesman behind him like Cresswell keeping a track of him. He'd have played 15, 20 games since then. So there we go. Still showing about Arsenal, indeed. Peeps, I'm going to have to shoot. Thank you very much for your time as per usual. But yeah, all good in the hood. Play this week either against Barrow and West Brom on the build-up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did. But obviously we played Liverpool for 2 games before, didn't we? So it's like, yeah, you're right. Russ has Cresswell earned a year extension. Trouble is, what will happen is if we did, I guarantee some people will be like, yeah, great. And some will go, we've got the oldest squad in the Premier League and we're offering them. You're never going to win. I don't know, in all honesty. I don't know what I would do. Because, yes, you've got someone there. He'd be 36, almost 36, 37 by the end of a year extension. I just don't think. I'd like to see him stay in the club, coaching staff or something like that. I think it'd be great. Because, he's a conduit between the old West Ham and the West Ham now. It's only him and Antonio who played at the old stadium. So I'd like to see him still involved in the club. But anyway, have a lovely weekend. Would you sign Vardy for a year? No. Have you finished that? That's why you couldn't type, innit? Your hands were busy. I knew it was. Oi, Mark, hope you're well. Cheers, Pete. Take care, everyone. Don't forget to give it a like before you go. Everyone's buggering off already for the rest of the weekend. But don't forget to give it a like, comment, share, all that good stuff. We'll have Hammer's headlines a bit later on, with some stories about players we've been linked to, and a story about Ollie Scholes as well, about where his international future may lie. Until then, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you guys very soon. Much love. Bye-bye.